All right, let's dive into expenses. All right, let's see. So here we go. This section of the sheet, I'm going to expand it just a little bit. Okay, here we go. We got some rules of thumb, current, projections. Right. All right. Now, by default, in the current annual, so T12, trailing 12. That's what that means. If you're not familiar with that term, trailing 12. What do the trailing 12 months expenses look like? So the default in the analyzer is 50%. That is the default that it just automatically calculates as the expense ratio for the current annual expenses, right? You can see 79,720 is what it's saying right now is the current net income, expenses right there. And then we have the NOI right there. So let's dive into what the projected annual expenses are going to look like. Let's go over here first. Let's see. Okay, so all right now, so they got taxes at 7,000. Let's plug that in. Taxes at 7,000. All right. You see, as soon as we start typing stuff in, the default override drops out, and we got to plug everything in. Nope, not that one. This one here. Operating expenses, 22,000. That's pretty generic. But when we look at this, I was looking at this attachment. This has more expenses. So let's plug all this stuff in. Property insurance of 6,000. 6,000. Let's go back. Maintenance and repairs, 5,760. We're going to go down here, repairs and maintenance, 5,760. Back over here, property management fees. So they're paying somebody 8% management fee. Management fee, what was the number again? 9,216. 9,216. Let's see, we got utilities at 1,200. So I'm just going to put all the utilities under electric for right now. So utilities at 1,200. So yeah, you can see the spreadsheet automatically says, hey, the expense ratio seems too low. Here's why it says that. It says the expense ratio seems too low because when you're talking with a bank, when a bank is analyzing a property and they're doing their underwriting, they're looking at it from the perspective of what is it going to take if we foreclose on this property and we have to operate it. So the owner might be able to operate this property at this low expense ratio of 36%. The bank is probably not going to use such a low expense ratio to underwrite it. They're probably going to be a little bit more conservative in their underwriting and have a higher expense ratio. Maybe 50. It might be as low as 45, but 36, that is definitely going to be too low. So real estate taxes. Let's see about the real estate taxes. For taxes, one thing that I do know about South Carolina is South Carolina property taxes get reassessed at the closing. When a property sells, property taxes are reassessed. So I know $7,000 is not going to be the tax bill. What I've done some searching. County of Greenville, South Carolina, they have this handy dandy tax estimator tool. Now, not all counties have this. Fortunately, Greenville does. So I plugged in the $1.1 million purchase, the tax district that I think it's in. The ratio is 6% because it's not owner occupied. Calculate. And here's my estimated tax. You can see that is a huge jump. Taxes triple from 7,000 to 22,000. Actually, what's that exact number? 22,242. 22,242. This is why having people in those markets, having a network and connections in specific markets is so valuable. Understanding when properties get reassessed, like in South Carolina, I know how it works in this market. This is one of the reasons why we built out the network inside the deal room. So there are resources throughout the country for how to figure out what your expenses are going to be. You can see right away out of the gate, taxes, $22,000 a year. And that is almost as much as the entire expenses that the current seller is paying right now. Insurance. Now for insurance, we have this handy dandy tool right in here. You can get a ballpark idea. Plug this in. We're not going to use the tool right now because there's a 24-hour turnaround time. You plug in your information, answer 9 questions about the property to get a ballpark. For our purposes, we're just going to put this rule of thumb, $550 a unit. So insurance is probably going to be $6,600. For electric per unit, I'm just going to keep it the same. That's probably going to stay the same from the current owner to us. Management fee. With this property, you could probably hire a management company for 8%. Repairs and maintenance, that's what they're spending on repairs and maintenance. Everything has been totally renovated. So maintenance expenses, in theory, will be lower than a property that hasn't been renovated because the mechanical systems, the AC systems are new, appliances are new. There's less maintenance because everything's brand new. We're going to put this at 5% maintenance. Okay. So spending $6,000, it's still more than what they're spending now. General and admin, we're going to plug in there $3,000 so you can pay the CPA to file your taxes at the beginning of the year. Deposit to replace reserves, $250 a unit per year. So we're just basically escrowing $3,000 a year so we can fix stuff when it breaks. Replace flooring, replace appliances, things like that. Different than general maintenance. As you can see, our expense ratio, 42.4% versus the seller's expense ratio of 36.6%. Now, the spreadsheet still says this is red because it's programmed to show red if this is less than 50%. Let's add another 5K, just general. No, it's now we're in orange. 10,000. So if we had just a generic $10,000 of extra, who knows what expenses, our expense ratio is going to be 50%. Now, it may be very possible to run this property at a 42% expense ratio, and you might be able to make the case to the lender, the bank, hey, this is an accurate expense ratio. We can underwrite it at this expense. So we're going to leave that the way it is for now. You can see, this is how the expense section of the analyzer works. You plug in the current expenses, what the current owner is paying for things. You plug in your projections for things because some will be the same, right? The electric bill is probably not going to change much. Taxes are definitely going to change. Insurance, probably going to change. Management fee, that might be the same, 8%. So we'll leave those the same. And we can see with these expenses, we have the projected income of $133,000 gross. We have our vacancy. We have our total net income, like gross net income, 125 minus expenses. Now we have a new net operating income of $72,498. And now we're going to see how that feeds into the rest of the spreadsheet in the next module.